watching Up, Everybody Somebody. My name is Robertson, and I'll be your host. A couple of years ago, there was a movie called The Pursuit to Happiness starring Will Smith, and it dealt with a father taking his kids through the homeless shelter, taking his kid rather, through the homeless shelter and doing what he had to do to make sure he took care of him and his kid. Today, I have somebody who actually lived through that. His name is Mr. Parks. Mr. Parks, welcome to Everybody Somebody. And I'll let him tell the story.
And I received a phone call from a neighbor of my kid's mother, and she told me my sons were by themselves. So I left my job, and I went to see what the issues were, and I wind up, make a long story short, I wind up getting my three boys. They were babies and toddlers at the time.
Well, when you said you got a phone call stating that the baby's about to tell us what happened, the mother just left them?
Well, unfortunately, the mother, she had things on her mind at the time, and she was going through a lot at that particular time. So she needed some relief. So I guess she asked the neighbor to mind them, and the neighbor didn't realize what she was supposed to do. So my mother went out and did what the mother went out and did what she's supposed to do. I was always there for them. So, you know, when my boys were toddlers at the time.
Okay. Are these two young men right there
These
you're
are
talking
my
about?
beautiful sons.
How you doing, guys? What's your names?
Elijah.
Elijah, and you?
My name is Akeem.
Once I got them, which was in 1998, I had to leave school. I was going to school for child psychology at the time, so I had to leave school. And I went to live with my mother. My mother had a house. She lived with her grandmother. I went to live with my mother and my grandmother, her mother. And, you know, they were family members and all that stuff like that. So I stayed there for about 8-9 months. The house was sold. And I was looking for, this was in Flushing, Queens, by the way.
Okay.
So I went to look for an apartment, knowing that the house was going to be sold. And nobody wanted to take in Flushing. Majority at that time it was a majority Asian and Hispanic.
Okay, right.
So nobody wanted a black man with 3 babies living next door to them. So I was unable to get an apartment. So my time ran out, expired. The house was sold, and I wound up being in the shelter system. I went into the shelter. I wasn't expecting the mothers because I was around a lot of women. So I wasn't expecting the women there to be so angry, bent on hell. A lot of things that they were going through that I understand as single mothers, because I was, in a sense, I'm a mother, just like in a sense they are fathers.
Right.
So I was a mother, and I understood, you know, why they were angry and upset, because they had to rear kids by themselves, and they had no man in their lives to help them do that. And, you know, I had to defend my sons. I had to defend myself.
When you said defend yourself and your sons, what do you mean by defend them?
Like I said, the women were angry, very angry women. They're angry at life. They're angry that the father wasn't there. They're angry at going through the broken family syndrome. So they had no job. They had to run back to welfare and stuff like that. All these type of things combined together makes a person, individual, angry, especially if you don't have a job.
And you being a man, that didn't help.
No, that didn't help. Well, it kind of did help, but it didn't help because a lot of women fell back on me. They asked me for advice, but then again, they were angry because I was a man, and you know, they were taking like their frustrations out on me and my sons. So there were times when I would be in the shelter, and you know, I always had my boys close to me,
Right.
knowing that the psychological environment that was going on at that time and how people were thinking. So I would always have my boys close to me because a lot of times these individuals will allow their older kids to beat up on younger kids, and that included my kids.
How did it make y'all feel, the young men?